So, just give me a paragraph, sort of an outline of your ghost story, okay? And send it to artbell@artbell.com. Couldn't be easier. artbell@artbell.com. Really soliciting ghost stories and people. And remember now, when you send this, you have to be by your telephone on the appointed evening. Okay?
Hey, real quick. Thousands of Americans are piggybacking off an IRS loophole.
Want to take a ride? From the high desert and the great American Southwest. Exclusively on SiriusXM Radio. This is Dark Matter with your host, Art Bell. Now, here's Art.
Actually, spooky matter this night, ladies and gentlemen. Spooky matter. You have sent me ghost stories. Now I board up in D.C. That's where he is, by the way. Washington, D.C. Evan may call you. And if so, we'll definitely talk to you about your ghost story, and we got some good ones too. And we will scatter that in with open line ghost stories. Now, not yet with the open lines, but we will get to that, I guarantee. It's a long night. 4 hours is a lot of show with as few breaks as we ever have. All right, you know what? We've got a winner. That's right. In the ghost photo contest, we've got a winner. And I think that I've got her on the line right now. Her name is Rebecca O'Donnell, and she found out about 2 minutes ago, or 3 minutes ago, that she was the winner of our ghost photo contest for Babushka. So, Rebecca, welcome to Spooky Matter.
Thank you, Art. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
Congratulations. You got a brand new radio, and you got a 1-year subscription to SiriusXM.
I am so very excited.
Yeah, it's a good deal. How did you come upon the show?
I actually had heard many rumors about the great Art Bell, and one of my friends is an XM subscriber, Sirius subscriber, and I just happened to be over, and I got to listen to a couple of your programs, and I loved it.
Well, we depend on that kind of thing for sure. Anyway, tell me about Babushka, would you please?
Okay, I actually worked with a fellow at a cable company, local here, and he knew that I did some amateur ghost hunting, and we would talk about that, and he was kind of shy to show me, but he actually showed me this photograph that I entered in the contest, and said that was at his sister's house, and that they had been experiencing creepy stuff that had been going on in the home. And when I saw that picture, I had never seen anything like that before. I had gotten orbs myself, but nothing ever like that.
But orbs are not what you brought us. And by the way, yours was picked out as the winner by the most positive comment. There were like 100, I think, positives on you for that, and it was a clear winner. There was one other, but it got qualified because somebody had poached it from another website.
Oh, okay.
So, yours is an original, and it's totally a winner, and, whoever took it, who took that?
That was my coworker's name, David.
Okay, well, boy, he did a good job. I mean, to be able to catch something like that with a camera.
Oh, it spooked him. It spooked him very much so. And he didn't even really know if he had captured it until he had seen it in the phone, really until he saw it. So, it was before all those applications. I was going to say, before all the iPhone applications and all the little things that you can do trickery with, it was before that even really evolved yet. So that was what made it even neater,
Do you actually know the date or rough date?
Yeah, it was taken around 2007.
Okay, 2007. All right.
Yeah.
All right, well, listen, Rebecca, bless your heart for entering, bless your heart for having a really good ghost photograph, and enjoy the radio and the 1-year free subscription. And we'll expect you to call back.
Thank you so much, Art. Such a pleasure to talk to you.
Take care. All right, that is Rebecca O'Donnell. there's somebody who's going to win. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spooky Matter. Now, what tonight is going to be, as I mentioned, is a combination of those who have sent in those stories as requested.
1, 2, 3.
Seems to take one. Hey, Mark.
Oh, it's been a roller coaster. Sunday.
And we are in the process.
I'd like to welcome you all, and I just want to thank Brian for giving me I feel very honoured to be asked to open the 2-day conference, UFO conference here in Sydney. And I just want to make mention of those people on the committee that have diligently worked to bring everybody together. I'd like to start with Brian Dickerson for the work that he's put in, and his trusting treasurer Elizabeth Burdick, and Dudley Hobb, who's done a lot of work in as well, and all the technical help are Andrew Lees, Wendy Lees, Peter Turner, Wendy Burnham, Gary Hedman, and Doug Moffat. I'd also like to mention Hugh Mulgrove, who unfortunately is not able to be here. He's one of their backstays and helpers, and unfortunately at this time he's in hospital, or was yesterday having an operation. So we can all just send out prayers of healing to Hugh. I think there might be is there a Get Well card floating around somewhere that we can...
We'll have to arrange that.
Okay, right. So I'd just like to just ask that we can dedicate perhaps this conference over the weekend and give lots of thoughts to all those people that have given their time and help in bringing all this together, because, you know, there is a total awareness out there, and I think it's wonderful that we have so many excellent speakers that have accumulated a lot of knowledge over the years that have willing to bring it to the delegates to share. And I'd just like to say welcome to you all, and I'm quite sure you're going to have an excellent weekend with all the wonderful knowledge and information that's going to be imparted to you. And I'd just like to just bow our heads for a moment and just ask, as I look here and ask, take your own spirit, Mother Father God, we ask that this weekend that we can bring knowledge and healing and help all those people that are here. And also I'd like to ask for healing of this planet. And I always find that truth is within ourselves, and I think we need to turn within to find that truth. But most of all, learn to be a little bit more open and understanding and keep it up there in front trying to get information. And this is a weekend, this is a very important weekend where you're here to ask questions, to be helped and to learn. So learn what's going on out there in this big wonderful world of ours. So I'd just like to pass this now back to Brian, and let's get on with the weekend and enjoy every moment of it. And also remember that upstairs there's tables all around here, both on this floor and upstairs, where there's a lot of articles being sold and information. So feel free in intervals to wander around and look and see what you can find. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
start in a couple of minutes. Thank you very much. In the late 1960s, he became interested in UFOs, and he subsequently joined the UFO Research Queensland and the Australian Centre for the UFO Studies. As chairperson for the UFO Research Group in Queensland for over a decade now, over 10 years, Martin is the present administrator of ACUFOS. That was the Australian National Organization for UFOs, and plays a key role in the UFO investigation scene here in Australia, and is well known by everyone here. His interest in the subject has since broadened to encompass the entire phenomenon and its implications for our future. His theme, the UFO Quest, once we become aware of the reality of the UFO phenomenon, we ask, what else didn't I know? And this sets us up on a lifelong quest that encompasses both the inner and the outer space of our journey. I'd also like to mention that today is a very special day for Martin, of course. Some 60 years ago, he was born on this planet. And I'm very happy to have him here with us today, so also a happy birthday to Martin. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Mike. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please let me make a couple of corrections to that wonderful introduction. I was chairperson of the association in Queensland for only a few years, not 10 years, but I've been on the committee for about that length of time, or twice that. And in regard to the Australian Centre for UFO Studies, that body has been dormant for the last few years. Although I'm hopeful that with the current changes, including the internet and a few other such things will become practical for a national body with membership scattered around the country that hadn't been so practical before, and I'm hopeful that ACUFOS will become functional again in the foreseeable future. Now I'd like to address the topic of my talk today, the UFO Quest. As I've studied this subject over the years, it gradually dawned on me, it took a long time in my case, it gradually dawned on me that I really was on a quest. That at first I was just after how to build a UFO and how to make it fly. That was what I really wanted to do way back when I first became interested, and I really didn't want to know the rest of the stuff. But it gradually dawned on me that it's all one package. If you want one, you have to have it all. Because it just doesn't make sense until you look at the whole thing. And I suspect many of the people here today are on a quest too, although they may have never put it in those sorts of terms. This first overhead I've prepared here shows the title of my talk with a couple of footprints, which some of you I'm sure will recognize. We are following in the footsteps of other cosmic civilizations. And I think it's rather fitting that one of the first public meetings between the occupant of a UFO and a human individual that was witnessed by some half a dozen people. On that occasion, when these two persons met in the desert in California, the visitor took pains to leave clear footprints of those footprints in the sand at California. One of the observers, who was an anthropologist, later took plaster casts of that print, and you see it there. When you first went to primary school, you started in grade 1, and there were other children in grades 3 to 4, 5, right up to whatever. And as we discover that the universe contains other civilizations, we're in grade 1 and others are in the more advanced levels of development. It's just the way it is. It doesn't make us dumber or anything else. There's always going to be someone ahead of you, and there's always going to be someone behind you. It's the same in the school system, and it's the same in the larger school. And that's the quest we're on. One of the aspects of this quest is the enormity, the mind-boggling enormity of it. I think it's taken us the best part of the last 50 years to come to terms with the idea that the extraterrestrial visitations that are taking place here are putting us in touch with the whole of the rest of the universe. It isn't just people in the neighboring stars systems who come and visit. Some of the visitors have come from mind-boggling distances. The UFO phenomenon compresses the whole universe right to our doorstep. And it's becoming apparent to some of us too that maybe all of time is similarly being compressed in this way. That when you see a UFO, you could be seeing something from the future, what we might call our future, or something from what we might call our past. So both time and space are, as it were, compressed and brought to us in the UFO phenomenon. This makes it a huge thing. Everything you ever dared to dream of but couldn't quite bring yourself to entertain is implied in this UFO phenomenon. And of course, in that very process, we are being obliged to look at the most profound questions about the nature of life. Another big quest. That's always been a quest, hasn't it? People have devoted their lives to that theme. You cannot study the UFO phenomenon and not pick that one up as well. So I hope you won't mind me calling this interest a quest. It is just so mind-bogglingly far-reaching. And I liken it to the crusades that people went on in the Middle Ages. Many of them went on a quest too. They were searching for the Holy Grail, the thing that would liberate them from all the limitations and shortcomings and ignorance of their day. Not all, of course, but some did. Okay, now I wonder if you could put the second overhead on. When I determined the title of this show, and I sort of kicked a few around, I thought it was an original title, but then I discovered a book in my library with that. I wanted to acknowledge the fact that the title wasn't so original. Alan Watts' book is concerned more with the technical aspects of the UFO phenomenon. That's in fact why I got the book, but the title of the UFO Quest is the title of his book. The idea is the reasons, isn't it? Thank you. The next one, is free. Could you turn that to the sensor? One of the recently I spoke to a group of retired persons, and after quite a few searching, I was speaking on the subject of UFOs, and was asked a few searching questions. One of them was, why hasn't Satan found anything yet? Given that life is so abundant in the universe, as we sometimes claim, why has Satan found nothing? So I thought I would, and I couldn't give a good answer at the time, but later something occurred to me which I thought I'd pass on to you. We've been sending out electromagnetic radio messages for the last century or so, and these have been propagating through space and have gone about 100 light years in the time since Marconi and others, Tesla, first played around with radio. In fact, there is a volume of space of about 4 million cubic light years that contains information about planet Earth on its radio waves and television and the rest of it. That represents close to 500,000 star systems where other people doing SETI could find out about us. At each decade, that increases at the present time by something of the order of 360,000 cubic light years, implying something like 30 or 40,000 star systems that couldn't get us before we'll start to get our messages if they were looking for them. And the reason I put this up is it maybe wasn't such a smart thing for us to advertise our existence in this way, because amongst all these many thousands of star systems and presumably comparable numbers of civilizations, not all of them are so nice to know. We're advertising the fact that here's a planet so mixed up, so confused, so divided, so stupid, they're just ripe for the picking. And maybe the abduction phenomenon and the things we see there is the response to what we're doing here. Someone found out that here's a planet where you can get a few things for free. And maybe that is why some of the other civilizations who are a bit smarter than us are a little bit more discreet about how they advertise their existence. That's possibly one of the answers why SETI is going to be looking real hard, and when they do finally get something, it'll be because someone meant them to get it, not because slide, please. Now, when the UFO phenomenon began in the public domain about 50 years ago, the idea that this was a really phenomenal and remarkable and unprecedented phase in human history became very apparent to a lot of people. And it was in those years that UFO research sort of did its great split, and the people who sensed that they were on a quest became one kind of group, and the people who were going to do these things scientifically and who wouldn't entertain the notion of a quest became another kind of group. That division started right then in the 50s. One of the men who was on the quest side of this equation is George Adamski. His picture was taken in Sydney. I thought you might like to see it. George spoke here in Sydney in about 1959. The local UFO group were their hosts, and later there was a meeting at the home of Mr. and Mrs. Bloom, where this photograph was taken, and the lady in the background was one of the great supporters of the organization. I think I've got her name in my notes here at that time. Thank you. Next one, please. So I'll just briefly refer you to some of the early contactees who, in my mind, were the people who recognized the significance of what was happening. This book details that event of the meeting between two persons, which resulted in those footprints that you've already seen. It was originally published together with another book by Desmond Leslie. And it basically documents that encounter, amongst other things. Next one, please. George Adamski, that is to say, later had a number of meetings with extraterrestrials. I accept his claims at face value. I realize not everyone does, but I suggest if you've been told that George was a fraud and a liar, and you've never read his work yourself, it's time you did. You might have a very different view if you actually looked at what Adamski said, and looked at it with the hindsight of 50 years more technical progress, and you marvel at how well what he had to say has kept time, how it withstood the test of time. Here are some of his photographs. He was an avid photographer. He tried very hard in the late 1940s to get good pictures of UFOs after having seen a number, and he was fairly successful. He then later had a number of meetings and became one of the contacts of this subject, contactees I should say, that is to say a person who claims to have met the extraterrestrials, had conversations with them, and has been given certain amounts of information. And I think this information that we get from contactees is a most vital aspect of the UFO phenomenon, far too long neglected from serious study. Next, please. Another one of these was Daniel Fry, an electrical engineer, who went for a ride in a UFO occupied only by himself and operated remotely. And if you would lower this down, there's a picture in the top of that. You can just see it there. He obtained a number of photographs. This one was on a part of a movie footage. He too had communication with a particular extraterrestrial, and these communications are described in the book The Viasams Incident, and is another one of those things that you should study if you want to understand the nature of the quest you're on. Next, please. You can see that this couple, Brian and Helen Reed, appreciated what they were on. They published this book, Flying Saucer Pilgrimage. It was actually published first in the 50s, although this particular issue came out a lot later. They went around and they met, amongst others, George and the other contactees, both in Mexico and the United States, to try and assess what this was all about, and realize that they were witnessing the dawning of a most unusual phenomenon in our history. Next, please. So you see, in the 1950s, this is all 1950s stuff, people realized the significance of what had happened. George Hunt Williamson was one of the group that observed the Damsky meteor that ET who came out of a landed disk, as described in Flying Saucers Have Landed. He then became a member of a contact group of individuals, about half a dozen or so, who used radio and other methods to communicate with a corresponding ET group. And these communications are detailed in the book The Flying Saucers Speak. These also happened in the early 1950s, around 1952. And surprisingly, this hasn't continued to happen. You would have thought UFO research groups would pick up on what George did, what Williamson and his group did, and carry on having contacts like that, but it didn't continue like that. Next, please. But the information contained in those contacts, again, is most important and useful. I don't have a direct publication of true and